don't know. I'm feeling perhaps there could be a cup set in this. The team from Perth have been the best across the league all season.
Well, they finished top in WA NPL, so for them to come in flying form, peak fitness up against Adelaide, again, a newly formed A-League men's team, it will be a big test, but maybe a cup set on their hands.
Rocking night at Kingsway Reserve Stadium over in Perth, that is for sure. We can see the Lion up there, Lions FC v the Western Sydney Wanderers. What are you feeling, team? Could we see a cup set in this one?
I think Western Sydney will get through this one in a very, very tight battle.
Yeah, I think Western Sydney are just going to be a little bit too strong given their depth and quality.
Oh, OK, thanks for that. Dare to dream, team. And what about Victorian over the action between Hume City and Melbourne Serbia?
I'm going to go with Hume City.
Hume City.
OK, great. All right, well, I'm going to dare to dream. There's going to be a couple of cup sets and one coming up over in Perth. We are off to a short break. Do not go anywhere as the round of 16 Australia Cup match day 2 and kick-off between the Lions and the Western Sydney Wanderers is on the other side.
Is it true? Come on, show me what you can do.
Australia Cup champions. Sydney FC, they'll win the cup.
Will it be third time lucky for Lions FC against A-League opposition as they host the Western Sydney Wanderers in Brisbane? It is Wanderers' second trip to the Sunshine State, having already succeeded in the round of 32 against Brisbane City. They find themselves away in Queensland once again. This time it's Lions FC, fresh off hoisting the Queensland Cup at the weekend after an emphatic 3-0 win in that final. They're hoping to bring that form and momentum into this clash on what is the perceived tougher quarter of the draw. Will they be one of 4 A-League teams meeting come the quarterfinals, or will there be an interruption from one of the NPL sides trying to tip off the cup setometer once again in what has already been a bumper edition of this year's tournament? Lions FC make 3 changes from the team that played in the weekend cup final, with Cardiff Pond restored in goal, Matt Redenton, the former Wellington and Newcastle player, in midfield, and also Broderick taking up a spot after scoring in the final. Luke Broderick into the starting 11. Watch out for Finn Beakhurst off the bench. Unfortunately, no Alex Fickner tonight due to injury for Darren Symes' team. Western Sydney Wanderers, from their most recent friendly against Auckland, have made some forced changes. An ankle injury sees Lawrence Thomas out, replaced by Tristan Vidakovic. Also, a first look at Taewook Jung, the Korean player on loan. And also Jesse Cameron, the youngster from Blacktown City, gets his opportunity in the starting 11. But we won't see Lawrence Thomas or Gabriel Kleur tonight, both of whom were on show in the round of 32 for Alan Stagic's team. There is Darren Syme. We heard from him in pre-game. Very laid back and relaxed, but it's game time now, and let's see if the switch is flicked for this Lions FC team to compete against an A-League opponent. Our officiating crew tonight will be led by Daniel Elder, with assistants Ashley Beecham and Mi Suk Park. Fourth official is Zijad Ahmetovic. And there's Alan Stajic talking to the assistant coaches there on the bench. It's all smiles at the moment for him and Naz Arate, his assistant that has followed him from Central Coast, well, from the Matildas to Central Coast and then to the Philippines and now to the Western Sydney Wanderers. And that coaching duo will be hoping to put their heads together and mastermind a victory here tonight. Brandon Brillo's got the captain's armband, as does Joseph Duckworth for Lions FC. Back in the 2015 edition of the tournament, they were known as the Queensland Lions. That's when they bowed out in extra time against Perth Glory after pushing them beyond the 90 minutes in a 1-0 defeat. And then in 2021, in what was the COVID-affected Australia Cup, they faced Brisbane Roar and were defeated 4-0 in the round of 16. So this is their 3rd crack at an A-League opponent on this stage as a club over the last decade. And they will be hoping to add their name to the list of teams. Brisbane Strikers have been there and done it, as have Redlands. So will it be Lions FC, the next team on the honour roll to have pulled off a major cup set? Got a little bit of a gap before we take kickoff here. As they break out of their huddle last, there is Andrew Pengelly. 10 cup goals this season, 12 in the league, 10 in the cup. He's almost perfectly balanced in his goal-scoring contributions. Should be absolutely no surprise that he scored a double in the cup final win against Moreton Bay Excelsior, which was a 3-0 triumph at the weekend. And there is Tristan Vidakovic, the 21-year-old, back in Australia, originally from St George City, but he bounced around a couple of teams in Portugal looking for professional opportunities before returning to Western Sydney, where he is now deputising for Lawrence Thomas. And so with the scene set for this cup tie, will it be a 4th A-League team getting rolled by NPL opposition? Wanderers in the white, attacking the right of your screens in the first half. And as we get underway, I welcome former Socceroo Eric Partaloo to the broadcast. And Eric, the stage is set. Are we going to get another cup set tonight?
Evening to you. Well, let's see. Both teams at very different ends of spectrums. And, you know, Western Sydney Wanderers, this is what you could call their second real big tests for their pre-season. And for Lions FC, they've played nearly 40 games, including their NPL campaign and various cup competitions. So there's 2 sides out here probably looking to play a certain way. But the Wanderers, they'll have to gather to a good start. And they had a really good start a few weeks ago in Brisbane, scoring those 2 goals really early on.
There is a bit of fascination around exactly how serious the injury to Lawrence Thomas is, which has caused Tristan Vidakovic to come in and deputise tonight. He's 201 centimetres tall, so even though he is only 21 years of age and still quite skinny, he's quite an imposing figure already. And given he's got experience in Portugal, as well as with youth NPL before he went overseas, maybe he'll be able to show us what he can do if Lions really test him here tonight. Wanderers looking to build with passes exchanged, and Josh Brillante will turn and tuck it back inside. A probing early through ball, and certainly in this situation, Lions will want to keep it tight for the first couple of minutes and not go behind to an early goal.
Yeah, that's something that they were really strong with in their last encounter. The Western Sydney Wanderers was trying to find that pass into the final third, but the cohesion, possibly their final pass, let them down at times against Brisbane City. Players like Brandon Pinello just need to take their time in that final movement.
Ball on the right wing here for Lions. Broderick swings it in. Oh, a missed clearance. Gave half an opportunity for the fresh air swing on the volley. First attack of any real note here for the Lions. Duckworth, square ball. Now Tommy Jarrett. Lions will probe, but you can see Wanderers organised behind the ball at the moment. Josh Brindle South, player with plenty of A-League experience. Attempted backheel from Redenton, and he's able to win a throw. Here is Brindle South, hurling the ball back as Lions concede a bit of territory. Hassan Ramazani back out from whence the ball came, and now a bit of space to swing in a teasing cross. A free header as well, and Jack Skinner not able to steer it goalwards. Hard to put a header on the target from that sort of distance.
That was a really, really good opportunity to start well. And it really starts from Hassan Ramazani. He's got that long diagonal switch in him, and they made the most of it there, just finding space outside, and it was a good cross in. It just needed a little bit more purchase on it from Jack Skinner, who got himself in the box really well between the two defenders.
Wanderers defeated Brisbane City 2-1 in the round of 32 with a couple of early goals that allowed them to dictate the tempo, and even though Brisbane City did throw everything at Wanderers and try to launch a comeback, they weren't able to score twice in doing so. Body check here, and the referee has seen it. Jesse Cameron, one of the younger members of this Wanderers team, making his presence felt early.
Yeah, keep an eye on number 20, Jack Skinner. He's got every trick in the book, and he will be using it tonight against this A-League opposition. He's a really tricky customer.
Lions trying to trap the ball in their attacking half. A couple of aerial tests for the Wanderers defence, answered efficiently enough. Now a bit of indecision on the ball here from Alex Bonatic, and he's ended up conceding a corner. Got to give the credit there to James Endick, who put him under the pump.
Yeah, the home side, they know how to play here, don't they? Every blade of grass they're so familiar with, and it was good pressure. And Bonatic just getting his body in the way, forcing a corner. It's been a good start from Lions FC here at home.
Bit of a discussion taking place about what the plan is on set pieces here. And whatever that discussion was, it clearly was a little bit overcooked with what ended up happening, because the ball was just volunteered back to Wanderers and then booted away. What went wrong here?
Oh, wow. He's hit the corner flag.
Matt Redenton just got a massive chunk of the corner flag rather than the ball. Anyway, all's well that ends well as far as Lions are concerned. They miss out on the corner, but they still have possession in a promising area. And it's emphatically headed away by Bonatic this time. Ball allowed to bounce just at the edge of the box. Now the flag is up with Redenton coming back from an offside position.
I think that'll worry Alan Stadich just a little bit at the moment. We're seeing Josh Brindle South getting that opportunity again and finding space in that wide area. And if they don't go and close that down quickly, then they're going to have a problem there tonight.
One thing about Brindle South is, even in between his A-League stints when he went back and played for the Bentley Greens, he kept himself supremely fit, and it's what led to getting a second chance. finds himself in the NPL. Flag is up, and the Lions FC defence. They all appealed as one to the assistant referee, and Misha Park, who is a regular in the A-League Women's, refereeing at a national level, raised the flag. We heard from Darren Simon about the number of juniors and families coming in to the stadium tonight. They're making their presence felt already with the chanting and the atmosphere.
Isn't it amazing just to see how many bodies are coming out midweek to watch an A-League side come up against their local side? There's a few kids and families, and it's just great to see the kids getting inspired, that next generation of footballers coming through.
Smart kids. They've found the crowd microphone too. Sound like thousands when it's hundreds on that side of the ground. How much of a difference will all of these little 1%ers make, though, against professional opposition and against capped Socceroos like Brandon Borrello, who has sprung the back line here, and it was turned towards a tap-in potentially, cleared away at the last, and Battolato still wins a corner for his team.
Well, the Lions try to play a high line in a couple of plays before this, and they do not get it right this time. Brennan Borrello using all of his experience.
Corner taken quickly and comes to little into the side netting.
Very quick indeed. Now, I've been watching the Lions play a few games. They love playing out from the back, and they really load the middle. Watch number 3 here to left back. He comes all the way across into the middle to try and give that space for Jack Skinner on the winger position. So they've got a set pattern of the way they like to play out from the back, and it's about trying to get their wingers on the ball high and wide.
Howard will hold up being stress tested against an A-League level of intensity, though. It's the question that Lions have got to answer here tonight. We saw them just boot the ball away when they didn't like the shape of what was playing out, so they might have a few safety first levers they'll pull if playing out from the back doesn't appear to be working for them. Right now it's Wanderers in possession. And they are happy to be patient as the ball is sent to Cameron. First time ball. Pace of the attack just goes up a notch. That's good physical work. Charging in from Milanovic. He appeals for the throw. Referee doesn't agree. So this is Jackson Hart-Phillips to take the throw in from left back. He's going to take plenty of time before making a decision. Bit of a shallow return ball there. Wasn't exactly helpful from Duckworth, and now Wanderers have a throw.
They love to try and play out Lions FC, but you've got to understand the game that you're in as well. Playing as an A-League opposition, there's going to be times tonight where it's not on to try and play out, and they put themselves under a little bit of pressure here.
Cameron's taking 5 or 6 step run up here. Let's look at his long throw. Gets to the edge of the 6-yard box, and in the danger area, it required Cardiff Pond, the teenage goalkeeper, to come out and pick it up. Australia Cup stalwart, you'd almost call him at this point. Luke Borean is the backup keeper on the bench. We've seen him in the national rounds in years gone by. In those Brisbane Strikers teams, which in some of those years had amazing exploits. Tonight it's all about the youngster. This is Jung as he goes back to the other young keeper at the other end, Tristan Vidakovic. And you had a bit of mail on Vidakovic and what he's like as a goalkeeper, Eric.
Yeah, I heard he's very good with both of his feet. Obviously, he's a tall customer. And I think that's the biggest thing when you are a tall goalkeeper, to have really clean feet, trying to get the ball out of your right side and put it onto your left side, and have 2 feet. It's a modern thing to have as a goalkeeper, but as a big player, even more so. And from all accounts, he's really good on the ball and hasn't looked out of place so far in this game.
We will watch for it, depending on which side he gets pressure from. If he is as 2-footed as the mail suggests. Wanderers right now on the march, though. This could be dangerous here for the Lions. They've almost created an overload. The pass just wasn't quite to the advantage of the winger advancing in. Calls at the edge of the box from Borrello, but the pass isn't forthcoming. Brillante. Now Battolato working in space, which is quickly closed down, so he retreats. It's been an interesting first 10 minutes without a real signature chance for a goal just yet. I think Lions would look at the clock and actually be pretty happy that they've got through the first 10 without complete red alert down in defence.
Yeah, you don't want to start allowing spaces to become bigger against A-League opposition. There's the possession stats already. Quite in favour of the home side, but when they start passing the ball like this, it's good to see Lions right now with this shape getting behind the ball, but it's in that final third. Can they pick the moments when they've got to go in and close, or when they can just stay back and act as a unit and defend as one?
Long chain of passes here eventually ended at the centre of defence, and so the mop up will be done by Jung. Comes in with a pretty well-established reputation and will carry a lot of responsibility, and that was nearly a perfectly measured long ball over the top for Zach Sapsford.
Well, you can see why he's captain his country at the Olympics, can't you? He's got a little bit of quality on loan from John Book, of course, and probably the replacement for Marcelo in probably one of the only signings of the off-season for the Wanderers, and I suppose that's going to be a big question mark for the recruitment for the club and for the fans, is who they got.
Here's a chance now for Lions and Redemption. The edge of the box. Broderick trying to spin on the ball, and it's knocked away by Battolato. Out for a throw. Good industrious work. Just for half a moment, it looked like it might set up for Redemption, but well, we had the central referee come in and overrule. No, we've had multi-ball. Everyone caught out. And now a long ball. It's going to take a tumble at the edge of the box. Here's Skinner. Happy to step over the ball, but he telegraphed it a little much, and so that allowed Milanovic to come in and help out the defence. And from the right-back corner as Wanderers see it. Lions doing a really good job trapping them in and forcing the high pass to attempted safety. Ramazani putting pressure on Sapsford, and he's got help in the form of Duckworth. Well, 50-50 was there to be won, and Jung did that. Now Ramazani, a clean challenge. Daniel Elder right on the scene. Lions win back possession with good proactive play. And now it's their turn to create on the ball. Ramazani tried to find a window that closed very quickly. The intercept was made by Milanovic, and now Wanderers look to go. They won't, though. Bit of a loose touch from Battolato. And that opens the door for Endignap to come back for Lions.
You can see both teams are really trying to squeeze and press that first 5 seconds, not allowing the other team to get a foothold and start making passes. And it's good to see the energy is up, particularly for a side like Lions that just played over the weekend in a big cup final in Brisbane. And the intensity is still there at the end of the season for them.
Brillante. A little bit ponderous on the ball there is Borrello, and so he opts to go back to his goalkeeper Vidakovic. Communication will be all important, of course, for a new voice between the sticks as well. It's an incisive pass into midfield, and Battolato can set Wanderers away. Borrello is motoring forward. He's got Sapsford ahead of the ball, but he might do it all himself here, and he just didn't get purchase on the shot.
Great move, and it's great awareness from Brennan Borrello just to get himself further forward. Very, very high line again for Lions FC, and Borrello just scuffs his shot on that left foot of his, but what a perfect pass it was from Milanovic from midfield.
That really was a defence splitter. The sort of thing that had everyone's head on a swivel from Lions, herring back in defence. So on the ball now is Skinner. As he misplaces a pass, it's a chance for us to throw it down to ground level. Campbell Johnson.
Yeah, thanks, Teo. It's a beautiful afternoon/night here at Lions Stadium. Standing room only, and I got off the plane this morning from Sydney, and I would be lying if I said my sunnies didn't fog up when I stood out of the airport. It is a humid day here in Queensland, around 30 degrees, but the pitch is absolutely sensational. I had a chat with Joe Duckworth, who's starting in midfield today prior to the game, and he was almost upset with how good the pitch was, saying that they'd like it a little bit more rough when taking on A-League opposition, but at the moment, they're really putting a good account of themselves here.
Thanks, Campbell. Yes, well, we saw one slide rule pass already that was beautiful from Western Sydney, so I don't know. It's a strange complaint to have, but maybe he's got a pretty good point.
He's absolutely spot on. You do not want to play on a good pitch against an A-League side that like to pass the ball, and they're finding areas at the moment, the Wanderers.
On the ball here, which Borrello will run down before the line. From a walking start, he exchanges passes here with Milanovic, who's going to jag inside and go for glory. He had designs on the top left corner, but the ball just kept sailing.
That was beautiful work from Brennan Borrello, just to slow the game down in the first instance and wait and change the pace of the game, and to bring in his friend Milanovic, who got it onto that left foot of his, and it was not far away. And really, they've got to try and test the goalkeeper now. They're getting closer, Western Sydney.
Wanderers, who have been to the semi-finals of the former FFA Cup twice. It's been their best cup run in the Australia Cup 2017 and 18, but in more recent times, qualifying round exit to Brisbane in 2022 and quarterfinals also against the Brisbane Roar last year. Great opportunity to test themselves if they get through tonight. One would think against Adelaide United that they have to survive a trip to Perth and Olympic Kingsway, which will be coming up later tonight on 10 Play, where you are watching tonight's coverage with the later kickoff from WA on what is a bumper evening of football. Away goes Borrello. He's roaming left and right side of the pitch wherever the ball takes him at the moment. Milanovic knocks it back to Priestman. Now Borrello again with a 1-2, trying to change the speed of the attack there with Battolato, but hooked it wide.
They can't come to grips with Brendan Borrello at the moment, and it'd be very difficult to pick him up. As you said, Teo, he's playing a false 9 role, just dropping in and dropping the shoulder and pulling all the strings at the moment. It's just lacking that finish. And I think for the Western Sydney Wanderers fans, that's a really, really good sign. Somebody in that final third with that change of pace, but can he find the final product now?
You can see here, Pond has waved out his defence and is going to go for distance on the goal kick, maybe just identifying the opportunity to retake command of the pace of the game. Go for distance he does. Flick header on is a promising one, and all of a sudden it's Lions at the edge of their attacking third and winning a throw-in as the ball is put out into the Wanderers bench. There are some of tonight's substitutions fairly circumspect at the moment. The likes of Hayden Simmons, Anthony Panazopoulos, Marcus Antonsen. Might see many or all of them as the night wears on.
Yeah, for Western Sydney Wanderers, you know, I think for the first round of games in this Australia Cup for them, you could argue that they were saying that it's still pre-season. But a couple of weeks later, there's no excuse anymore. The season has begun and there's nowhere to hide. So I think for a lot of these guys, they've had the month or two on the training ground. They've had at least 2 or 3 competitive games now. It should be the season has started.
Well, they know they're in a game right now. 20 minutes ticked by and still no goals. Wanderers shading the chances, but by no means dominant in this contest to this point of the night. Ramzani pops it over to Duckworth. He heard the call from his keeper, and Wanderers seize the opportunity to press. And Pond's distribution tested there, nearly found a teammate, but ends up flashing end to end. Now Vidakovic. Jum. His first thoughts were going back to Vidakovic, who's just been lured out of his area here, but he's sure-footed.
Yeah, you can see how far Jesse Cameron is on this right-hand side. He's right in the middle of the pitch as well. They're trying to engage on the flip side and get somebody like Jack Clisby on the ball.
He was a long ball, which needs a defensive header, but certainly not awkward as Hart Phillips gets it back to his keeper. Jesse Cameron, the number 41 you were referring to there, Eric, who has started at right back, but was right in the centre circle. We'll watch for that next time Wanderers are in possession, because right now it is Lions looking to build. He's only one of the players they trust to play long from the back, but he's looking for the short option here. Wanderers trying to squeeze. Brindle South with a little feint. It buys him just a moment of time to set the wingers away, but Clisby's quick. Oh, and he's been dispossessed. No foul. Play continues. Pengelly with his first real chance. Was there follow-through contact after the shot? The fans were looking for anything from the referee, who was not interested in what seemed like a fairly conventional block.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a sensational block from Jeong Tae-wook, and Clisby just gets there first, but it was Broderick using all of his strength and got his eyes up and had a look to make sure Pengelly was there. And the big Korean was there to make a block, wasn't he? Body on the line already.
We've barely called Andy Pengelly's name, the number 9. We won't get to on this phase because Wanderers are away. Milanovic shooting and finding the corner. That's a brilliant shot from distance. And Western Sydney Wanderers find the cutting edge. It is none other than Nicholas Milanovic who breaks the deadlock and makes it Wanderers 1, Lions FC 0.
What a marvellous strike, and a perfect time for the Western Sydney Wanderers to pounce and make sure they take the lead in this game. It was just a little win back in the midfield from Milanovic, who has started a little bit deeper tonight, picking up those pieces, and he ran all of 20 metres himself and just smacked it in the bottom corner. It's a great finish, left-footed technique, right past the keeper in the corner. It's 1-0 to the Wanderers.
And so he enjoys a goal. You saw heads thrown back by the Lions defence. They knew that standing off him has come back to pay them here. And so at about a quarter of the way through 90 minutes of action, it is Western Sydney Wanderers who strike first, just as the leading marksman for Lions FC, Pengelly, had had his first real touch, his first real look at the game, and a half-decent chance at that, snuffed out. And so now Western Sydney, just like their round of 32 clash, can dictate from the lead.
And it's like that in football. The margins are so small, and that's a massive kick as well from Vidakovic there. But the margins are so small, particularly in the final third. In both ends of the box, there's just a little bit more quality when you're talking about a player like Nicholas Milanovic, who's been doing it season in, season out for the Wanderers. And it's a great way to start for him as well this pre-season. They're expecting a lot of big things this year, leading that line and scoring a bundle of goals. And that was a super finish.
When you mentioned the technique and how he struck the ball, and it just had no deceleration whatsoever. It maintained its speed and its trajectory into the corner. A real beauty. And you know what a fantastic talent he is. Here's Cameron for Western Sydney. And now all of a sudden, space for Zach Sapsford. And Lions need to close some of the gaps here as Sapsford probes. Sits up almost at the penalty spot, and Brindle South with a desperate lunge, which was legal, and was able to clear the ball. A foul gets Lions out of trouble, and now setting the runners away. Luke Broderick will chase this one down. He gets there before the line. Who's making ground in the middle? Wanderers have got back efficiently enough. The cross had to be perfect, and Pengelly was one out, surrounded by the entire Wanderers defence. Now Duckworth can't keep the pressure on. And you just suspect that where that might be a lightning-fast counter-attack in NPL Queensland, it is a very different story against the Western Sydney Wanderers. Yeah, by the time they had the cross, there was 5 versus 2 in the box, wasn't it? And it's great work from the Wanderers just to get back and get a number of white shirts around the danger. And the game being stretched might well be to Wanderers' liking here. Cameron, now Borrello. He's had almost 5 quiet minutes, Brandon Borrello, trying to re-engage with the game here. Battolato legged. Definitely got collected, and the referee wasn't showing any interest right at the edge of the box. So Battolato gets himself up and returns to a jog. Here's another look at that shout for a foul.
Wasn't much in that, I don't think. And both players coming together.
Skinner back to Pengelly. Can he get his touches up? Can he get a feel for the game? He's such a deadly forward. Strong turn provider of sorts. Decides to go square. Tommy Jarrett. Now Josh Brindle South. Jarrett round the corner, telegraphed the pass, and Wanderers trying to sting on the counter. They've left Ramazani with it all to do. A awkwardly hit back pass, a bobble or two, but dealt with comfortably enough by Pond, and now Redenton hooks over the shoulder, and it's just clear to safety anywhere at the moment for Lions. Ball is there to be controlled in midfield, and eventually it is brought under control brilliantly. And then the back heel from Battolato was one step too far. He did some nice work and then went and undid it.
What really impressed me there with the Western Sydney Wanderers, they've just scored a goal. And when they realised they were getting the run around, the ball was being circulated by the Lions, all of the team was back behind the ball defending. And in a split second, they were able to change the volume, crank up the heat and go and play a forward pass and get on that counter-attack. I think Alan Stadgers has been working on that in the pre-season. It's great to have a team like Western Sydney Wanderers go and progress in the Australian Cup, but in the league they have struggled in the last couple of seasons. It's only, 2 final appearances in 8 seasons. If they want to be a finals contender, they're going to have to be a team that is resolute, that can take a 1-0, can hold a scoreline, all those things that make up the difference over a course of a year.
How worried should Lions be here that the deep heat has come out 28 minutes in for Joe Duckworth here?
Well, it tells me it's probably pre-existing. I think you'd probably be in much more discomfort if it was new.
Campbell Johnson, sideline, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I had a chat with a few people from the Western Sydney Wanderers, and the big omission from today's squad, and it's been rumbling around, is the absence of Lawrence Thomas. And I spoke with a few people from the club, including Alan Stadgich, and Lawrence Thomas has had an ankle injury during training, the extent of that still being assessed by the club, but it's forced them down to their 4th choice keeper in Tristan Vidakovic, who Alan Stadgich does have high praise of and is big raps on him, but with the addition of Jordan Holmes, he's cup-tied. Now they're down to their 4th, and it's a big opportunity for the youngster.
Well, he's barely been called upon so far, so in terms of showing his stuff, Lions have got to turn up the heat if we want to see him start making some saves. Right now the game on Wanderers' terms. And no forced substitution just yet for Lions, but watch this space on the hamstring, of course, of Joe Duckworth. Here's Redenton. Brindle South. Jarrard. Ramazani. Skinner, you could tell he wanted to get the game moving forward, but there's not much on. So the ball finds its way all the way back to the keeper, and now a long clearance, and Wanderers just able to squeeze. There we go, a bit of physicality coming in from Skinner, trying to turn up the heat.
That was brilliant. It's a great sort of play there from Jack Skinner. It's work rate, it's desire, it's wanting to make a statement in a big game like tonight. It's an excellent challenge.
Taywuk back to Vidakovic. There's a quick change of flanks. Clisby underhit the pass, not on the same wavelength there as Battolato. A miscommunication between the pair, and that allows Lions to take the ball away. Skinner wants to cut inside. Not much by way of support centrally, so he rolls back out to the left. And Dicknap took almost an accidental touch there, which causes the ball to run away.
they've done well enough to get in those areas, Lions FC, but it's about finding that extra gear, that extra pass to get inside the box. And it's Jack Skinner coming all the way across inside. They need a few options to play off him.
Very enthusiastic crowd, and ball kids giving plenty of options from right back here for Cameron to hurl it down the line. Sapsford, who's yet to really stamp himself on the game, dispossessed. Jarrett looks up here at Brandon Borrello, not daunted by the task of taking him on, but it's all very tight gaps, and Western Sydney Wanderers have squeezed and won the ball back. Sapsford on the turn, and Ramazani was right there on his case to block the shot away. Pond hurling it out. Brief interruption from Milanovic, but Lions will take over possession and look to go forward, look to go direct. And perhaps that pass was almost one of routine or habit, expecting a wing back to be bombing forward. There was no one there.
Well, you've got to applaud the idea, and they're not afraid of playing out from the back, even being 1-0 down against the Western Sydney Wanderers. And there's that possession passing accuracy stat, just a little bit higher, as you'd expect from Western Sydney Wanderers. It's a great surface tonight. We're in for a treat. Already see the ball movement, and the passing has been top-notch.
Borrello got stuck in a pincer movement, 1-on-2, and the numbers 1 out. Hart Phillips and also Skinner were able to win the ball away, but there's still a lot of work to be done to advance it up the pitch as far as Lions are concerned. A hefty slide challenge comes in from Clisby, and Wanderers have immediately got it back. Saps loses out in a 1-on-1. Brindle South directing traffic. Got to be careful. The press is all the way up to the keeper now. Hart Phillips, he'll turn into trouble as well. What trouble, he says. He's able to get around and clear the ball, but leaves Pengelly with a bit of a lost cause to go and chase. Junte Wook into the middle. Brillante. He's going to take 15 metres and, well, get caught from the blind side. Pengelly chasing back, and that's what you love to see from your number 9 defending from the front.
Yep, you love that, especially when everyone's working so hard for each other. It's a great recovery run for the number 9. Brillante was going through and ran out of options. Nobody really in front of him making a forward run, and that delayed that pass for him. But Lions FC here, not afraid to string a few passes together and sort of go toe-to-toe with the Wanderers and ask the question, can you come and get the ball off us?
Yep. Well advanced into the half here, and even though they're behind, they are not overwhelmed by any stretch. Priestman with a foul here, allowing Lions to enjoy a good little spell in possession, trying to step up to the point where they can take the game to Wanderers. It's not quite been in dangerous enough territory to call it that just yet. It's really been a period of consolidation. It might change with one errant pass out of defence here, if Lions can force it. Ramazani. Redente. Ramazani steps around Sapsford, and away the pass goes. Roderick's been motoring down that right side most of the game. This time it's Brindle South's turn.
That was brilliant from Ramazani. How many defenders do you know would try and do that? Take somebody on from the back line and then put a perfect pass over the top. It's great work from Hassan Ramazani.
It shows the confidence and the licence that this Lions team have been given to go and take the game on here. And right on cue, it's Ramazani again, this time breezing past Borrello, but the pass just not able to match as it bent out.
And they're the moments, aren't they? You get those right, and all of a sudden you're getting an attack on the Western Sydney Wanderers. Their shape's been good enough so far, but it's in those quick moments. Can somebody do something a little bit different out of the ordinary? And Ramazani stepped through a few times there and caught the Wanderers' defence off guard.
So 10 minutes of regulation to go in this first half. Western Sydney leading via Nicholas Milanovic's goal. Lions yet to have a real signature chance in the game. Maybe this could be the start of something here. Hart Phillips. Skinner. Duckworth decides to go back and reset centre of defence. Duckworth heard the shout, saw the wave from Redenton, and that is a round-the-shoulder body check there from Battolato, who concedes a free kick, but beyond shooting range, and so Lions will take it quickly. No real element of surprise, though. The Wanderers' defence organised behind the ball. Ramazani, look how high the defenders for Lions are starting to advance up to try and compress the game. Ramazani again, neat little sidestep, takes 10 metres. And the pass is going sideways and backwards. Who is going to uncork the killer ball? Gerrard now just has to run an extra couple of metres to retrieve that pass. Ramazani now hoping for Brindle South, and well, plenty of enthusiastic fans playing referee, and the actual referee agrees it's a corner.
Here's that little tackle there and foul right in the middle of the park from Battolato, and I'm surprised the Lions didn't set up from there. They have that imprinted in their brain to play it quickly.
That's exactly what they've done here from their second corner of the night. Redenton headed off the edge of the 6-yard box. Now a ball is coughed up. Skinner, he can cut it back. Pengelly arriving, and it's cleared. No power behind the shot. He just didn't catch it the way he hoped. Andy Pengelly, he's had a sight up, and Wanderers now vault end-to-end on the counter-attack. Battolato with the shot, and he can't quite find the bottom right corner.
End-to-end action. I'm wondering if Brandon Varello just got a little piece on this before he had a strike. He put him off, certainly, but it was open for business for Andrew Pengelly. And on the other end, it was a counter-attack. Battolato couldn't swing his foot around it, and there was no curl on the shot.
Well, that's the most exciting 30 seconds of the game so far. Andy Pengelly mishit at one end, Alex Battolato just wide at the other. And Lions, after a long phase of passes, as we see a foul here, are we going to see the first card as well? Yep, yellow card is out of the pocket. So 39 minutes into the game, we've got our first booking in the match.
There was Priestman there just getting caught from a loose pass, and it was Antignap probably getting forward in a dangerous position going forward on the back line, which makes the referee have an easy decision. And for the Lions, they're going to go short again.
That will be encouraging for Lions, though. Interesting, they've had one sort of mid-range free kick. They've had two corners. Took the free kick quickly. First corner, they accidentally kicked the corner flag. And the second corner, they took it short. So they haven't had a conventional set piece all game as yet. And now a scrag at the edge of the box. Central and assistant referee agreed that Brindle South was fouled. And Alex Battolato perhaps here will do well to avoid a card of his own.
Well, I'll tell you what, Taya, I'm thinking that's a yellow card because he's stopped a very, very promising attack, unless Brindle South has made a complete meal out of it. There's definite contact there. He knows that Battolato's got his hands around him. He bought the foul, certainly, and it's in a great position here for Lions FC.
So surely no short variety here, unless Darren Syme really does have something unique cooked up. Are we going to see the first real mean set-piece opportunity of the game for the home side? Two in the wall on the acute angle. Is this Lions moment to draw level? Here's the free kick. It's low and it's saved. Vidakovic with his first real test of the night. Was the ball cleared for a corner? It was. But Vidakovic has the answers the first time he's called into action.
Well, the big man got down to his left. I'm wondering if he got a little piece of the post as well to help himself out. He's right in his goal, and luckily Milanovic was there to clear.
Corner for the third time tonight, taken short. Popped through the right side of the box, and it comes to little. Vidakovic happy to watch it out. So Duckworth with the initial shot. And Eric, well, he was diving backwards into the net, but clearly the long levers on the arms were enough to parry it away.
Yeah, unconventional, but it doesn't matter how you stop the ball going in the back of the net. But I think if you're a Lions FC fan, if you're not getting something in the next 5 minutes with the amount of pressure that they've put on, it may not just be your night.
Wanderers really could compound the frustration if they score a second, but Ramazani, who has put in a good 40 minutes so far, is able to win the ball off Sapsford. However, it's coming back. Priestman with a great challenge. Sapsford can't capitalise, and Priestman for a man on a yellow. That was a great physical challenge of someone who knows his limitations now that he's on a card.
Yeah, took a risk there, something that Sapsford didn't do on the opposite end. It was right in front of goal and probably should have just pulled the trigger and had a shot. It was a good opportunity for him.
Great camera work right hard up against the line there. And it's Lions who prevail with the throw, and they're moving it forward quickly. There's a lot of positivity in the way that they're trying to finish this half. As you said, Eric, can they capitalise on these 5 minutes before the break? Brindle South. Broderick bides his time, knocks it back. Duckworth here. And again, the challenge that Lions have faced, possession in this sort of area of the pitch for them. Who's got the killer pass in the boots? Skinner. Now the shot might be on, or it's, well, neither a shot nor a pass in the end. Kind of just a bit of an outside of the boot flight of fancy, which sails out for a goal kick in the end from James Entignat.
Well, you've got to applaud Lions FC for getting in good positions and maybe not just crossing it for the sake of it. You'd see the idea there to try and roll it with the outside of the foot. But when you get in front of goal up against the Western Sydney Wanderers and you get the chance to have a shot, you've got to have one.
Are you saying that was a shot or a pass? Because I'm
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
Outside of the foot pass, I think.
So a big couple of minutes here. Wanderers know they can put themselves in a very enviable position if they can establish a 2-0 buffer right before the team talk at the break. Look at the individual quality here. Well, Milanovic was running his own race and none of his teammates able really to come with him as Gerrard gets the slide challenge away from Sapsford.
Geez, he's quick. Milanovic over those first 5-10 yards. That's really exciting to see him burst on that.
2 minutes of regulation to go in this first half. Is it Wanderers' turn to finish the first half with a bang? Brillante. Priestman calling up to the Olyroos squad yesterday. That'll be going on a 2-game tour of the Pacific Islands to Vanuatu. Here he is on the ball now. The Sydney FC youth ranks before he made the switch to Wanderers a couple of seasons ago. Here's a teasing ball in from Cameron, but can't quite bend it back into any of his teammates' range. Pond, quick throw out. And indeed, the whistle has gone. Foul on Redden.
Cardiff Pond, not afraid of a quick release, is he? Just trying to get his game started for his teammates. They go quick and short every single time. They are at home, Lions FC, and this is the way they've been playing their NPL campaign the whole season, using the ball, making angles for each other, and it's good to see them not steering away from their philosophy tonight.
If they do make it through stoppage time and go into the rooms only 1-0 down, they will feel as though they've established a foothold. They are starting to threaten and create more regularly. We've heard about the humidity and the conditions. Of course, it is a Wanderers team, only a handful of games into their campaign against a Lions FC team coming off a cup final and heading into a semi-final this weekend. So they are at the pointy end and match hardened. Ramazani, Vidakovic has come out. The ball sits up for Pengelly and he can't strike it with conviction. Can't strike it even with enough force to put it on the target or get the distance. What a let-off.
Well, complete miscommunication between Vidakovic and the back line there. Not sure the goalkeeper needs to come out from that sort of distance, but the ball just sat too centrally. and he couldn't volley the ball on either side of his right or his left foot, and had to try and manufacture something. That was a big let-off.
Well, the heart rates were raised. We're already 25 seconds into 1 additional minute at the end of the first half. And it's the Wanderers who need to be mindful of protecting their lead to the break here. Vidakovic, this time a clearance which is sure-footed. Can Lions load up for one last hurrah? Duckworth knows that time is of the essence. Once, twice. Once with the boots, another with the head. Trying to force it forward at all costs. Brindle south now. Into Knapp, and only seconds to play with here. Whistle in the mouth for the referee. And that is half-time, but what a first half. Nicholas Milanovic with the moment of quality that separates the sides, but Lions FC built into the half as the game went on. You do feel as though there's more to the story. Will Wanderers close it out, or will the cup setometer start to tick over in the second 45? Half-time, Lions FC 0, Western Sydney Wanderers 1.
It's looking pretty promising for the Western Sydney Wanderers. A little bit of a moment of mayhem at the end there. Vidakovic off the line. Andy Pengelly just couldn't make the shot sit, though. And, of course, the winner of this clash will meet either the winner of Olympic Kingsway and Adelaide United. Kick-off for that one over in WA is at 8:30 p.m. We'll have all of the action for you with all of the build-up for that one. It's now over to Robbie Feldman and Phil Moss' team.
Thank you, Tara. We have seen 19 goals here in Perth over the first couple of match days, the most of any hosting city in the Cup so far this year, and tonight really promises a few more. Olympic Kingsway, freshly crowned NPL premiers, are chasing a first ever quarter-final appearance for a member-fed team from WA, but tonight they face the Cup giants Adelaide United, the only team to have lifted the trophy 3 times. Let's have a look at the team news, and for Kingsway, the home side, their big dangers once again are the very familiar names of Joe Knowles and Liam Boland. Knowles has been outstanding in the NPL with 12 goals in his last 10 games, and Liam Boland still chasing 2 more goals to become the highest scorer in Australia Cup history. For the visitors, Adelaide United, now they survived a real scare in the round of 32 against Blacktown City. Carl Viet makes 2 changes in what looks a very strong team on paper, with veteran Javi Lopez and Austin Ayubi coming into the starting 11 and club captain Ryan Kitto dropping to the bench. There is a sad note tonight, though, with Kingsway coach David Tuff having to dash back to Scotland after the passing of his mother last night, so assistant Ross Edwards will take charge of the team tonight. Join Phil Moss and I for this one. Kick-off is just a few moments away.
Bring it on. What can the Green Machine do? They were hoping that they can cause a cup set against Adelaide United. All right, we are off to a short break here. It's match day 2 of the round of 16 of the Australia Cup. We'll take a look at all the half-time action between Lions FC and the Western Sydney Wanderers on the other side, and check in on Hume v Melbourne Serbia as well. See you soon.
tired if you want to.
Welcome back to the Australia Cup round of 16. Well, blink and you miss it, but this moment here, Matty Wright-Denton, we've seen him play across the A-League's men competition for the Knicks and the Jets, just to name a few, and this from the corner kick.
Go on, Matty.
Who do you want to put the boot in? Daniel Redfree. Has that ever happened to you, Macca?
No, not like that. Not at all.
You're not taking the corner, you're in the box.
That's
you're like,
it.
this is me, mate, I'm the striker.
That's it. Just give it in here.
Oh, gosh. Well, they've had a bit to do, the Lions. They had that moment at the end, Andy Pengelly seeing the keeper off their line, but it is the Western Sydney Wanderers team that are in the lead. They've looked pretty sharp. Brandon Borrello, Nicholas Milanovic looking very good with their forward runs, Grace.
Yeah, and ultimately a moment of quality. An A-League player backing themselves, getting into a good position, getting a shot away, which, you know, in moments of football, sometimes it can come down to exactly this. But Lions are still well and truly in it. They're not completely down and out. They're still getting the ball in their own attacking half. But Milanovic, well, we saw what he did last year with the Western Sydney Wanderers, and he looks to have started the season in really good form this year.
Well, you can look at his teammates there for a thanks, because they made the runs that actually made the defence keep dropping off, that allowed him the space to get their shot. They haven't been without their chances, the Lions. Pengelly in particular has had 2 or 3 really good opportunities for a player of his quality. Didn't really catch that one the way he would have liked. But they've had almost twice as many entries into the opposition box, the Lions, and everything else is pretty even across the stats board. But that one moment of class that separates them.
And you can tell you were talking about the stats right there. The Lions well and truly in it. What do you think come the second half, though, Grace, when you look at how well the Wanderers have done when they've had the ball, but the Lions not out of it by any means?
No, and one thing the Lions can boast across this Australia Cup run and their really heavy schedule is that they've had to dig into their depth, and they've done really well with that, with young players coming in, stepping up. So they're going to have to throw everything at it into the second half. No doubt we'll see a host of changes.
What has been thrown at Hume City and Melbourne, Serbia, is the 56-kilometre-an-hour winds. I think we actually need to do a little bit of a safety check on Joey Lynch and Archie Thompson there. They must be hanging onto that scaffolding for dear life. It is reaping havoc across what we are seeing in the first half of football. You can see it here.
Yeah, it's lending itself to be honest, a really scrappy game of football. But I think this is actually going to play into the favour of Melbourne, Serbia, because Hume City, they're going to be the team looking to get the ball on the deck and play. Under these kind of conditions, it's really hard. You can't play clean, sharp football purely for the fact that the wind is holding the ball up. Really difficult to play. So Serbia are going to hang on as best as they can, look for a quick counter-attack. This one could go the whole way in terms of a really gritty, scrappy goal just being poked in at the end of the game.
Yeah, and well, they've been going into the wind, Hume, and even our producer messaged me and he said they've found it really difficult. I checked the stats just before we came on air, and they hadn't had a shot on goal going into that wind. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage going with that wind at their back, because that can pose other problems about through balls and strikes that just take off in the wind and go wherever anyway. So very difficult night for both teams out there. But yeah, look, Serbia are scrapping hard, and they're looking to get that other upset that we keep asking for.
Gosh, they do, don't they? The fairy tale, can it continue for Melbourne, Serbia? And you can just see it there, these, you know, what they're doing and back-to-back promotions for them. And a great shot on target and an opportunity there against the wind too, and what they're having to do. But you dare say that it's going to be really different come the second half.
Yeah, I think so. I think it will open up a little bit into the second half. Whether or not the wind dies down a little bit, I think we might see a little bit more open play. Hume City getting the ball on the deck and probably managing out the second 45 minutes in the way that we haven't in this first half.
They killed me. They had a shot, but I missed. See, one shot on target. But yeah, look, you can see the XG for that shot as well. It was very low, so it has been difficult. As I said, the change of ends could have a whole different complexion on the game, but difficult for both teams. The wind is the hardest to play in. You can play in snow, rain, hot, heat, but the wind is the worst.
Speak for yourself there, Daniel. Playing in the snow. I'm like, what? Wouldn't take that either. All right, well, let's head back to Brizzy now. Campbell Johnson is with some very special guests, of course, as he's watching Lions and the Wanderers go head-to-head. Campbell.
Yeah, I've got an absolute army with me here at Richlands today at Lions Stadium. But we've got Liz and Joe Morcus here from Lions FC. And Liz, tell me how long you've been married to Joe here.
48 years.
48 years, and how long have you been at the club here?
40 years.
Yeah, so a long time, a long time. And, Joe, how much have you seen the club change? What was it here before?
Well, we're only a very small club, but we've always been very proud of what we do. And in the old days, when Lions took to the field, we expected to win and the opposition expected us to win as well. We were top of the game.
And a very famous George Best did play at the club in 1983. Did you get to see him run around? It was about that time.
No, I didn't. I don't think I was here then in Australia. I don't think so.
Missing out briefly. What did you make of the first half, Liz?
I thought it was excellent. Our boys kept their own and it was pretty evenly matched. Unfortunately, we were 1-0 down, but come on, boys, we're going to win this.
Yeah, indeed. And what's your favourite memory, Joe, of being here at Lions over this 40 years?
Well, it mightn't sound really good, but getting up at 6 o'clock, coming down to the field at 7, setting up for the juniors in my day, and then opening up the clubhouse itself. That was the best part of my life.
Well, people like Liz and Joe are what makes the Cup special. But, guys, we've got to go. But before we go, guys, we ready? I want a big Lions on 3. 1, 2, 3. Back to you guys.
On you, Campbell. And I know who's happier about where they are tonight. It's Campbell Johnson because he's sitting there. It's Liz and Joe. It's date night for them. He's made some new friends. Joey Lynch and Archie Thompson, on the other hand, are holding on to everything that they can with their close 56 kilometres an hour, of course, between Hume City and Melbourne, Serbia, where they are playing in Victoria. But turning our attention back to Lions FC, they've got a good feeling about it. I like that Joe said they were the best mornings and moments of his life, what these teams mean in the NPL Queensland and the community that they bring, bringing a village of people together that are touched by this club. You're going to have to be wary, though, of Nikola Milanovic and what he's doing out there for the Western Sydney Wanderers, though.
Well, he's shown us what he can do over the past 12 to 18 months, hasn't he? Really burst on the scene last year, but you can't give him too much time and space because he is quite electric, and we've seen the damage he can do there. You see there, he just looks to use the run of Borrello to drag the defence one way and set it up to go the other, and looks to bend it in. And here, you can't give him that much space. And like I said earlier, you can see that he's got teammates who are making the forward runs that is putting the question into the defenders whether they should step out or will the pass then go past them. And at that kind of range, he's going to take the strike, and he has the quality to put it in the bottom corner.
Wanderers as well from a defensive perspective, and we know that they lost a bit of quality at the back there. Jong's looked really good for them as well, Grace.
Yeah, really steady, and would expect that of a player of his calibre coming in, shoring up the back, leadership, and alongside young players as well. You need that kind of experience to steady down that defensive line, which he's done exactly that.
So it is match day 2, the round of 16, 3-quarter-final spots go on the line. The action will keep you across all of it. Richlands in Brisbane, of course, between Lions FC and the Western Sydney Wanderers. Meadow Heights in Victoria. We've got Hume City v Melbourne, Serbia, who play in Division 3 in the Victorian League. And then the action has just kicked off in WA. Olympic Kingsway and Adelaide United. Adelaide, the most successful team in Australia Cup history. Olympic Kingsway, the Green Machine, sitting top of the NPL WA ladder at the moment. They've been flying all season. What happens in the second half? Starting with what you can see at the top left in Richlands, Queensland.
What happens?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a continued tough battle. Lions have looked decent. As I said, they've had more final third entries. So I think Western Sydney are going to have to be on their game.
Yeah, I think Lions might peg one back, but Western Sydney might have just a little much quality in the end.
Well, let's get back to our commentary team of Eric Partaloo and Teo Palazzeri team.
So what does the second half have in store? Will Lions be able to find the back of the net? Young Jesse Cameron there bouncing up and down. Teenage Wanderers right back, who will be looking to continue to press his case for A-League senior minutes come the start of that season. Right now, though, the priority is consolidating this 1-0 advantage, which Western Sydney enjoys at the start of the second half. Nicholas Milanovic's goal the difference, and Lions FC improving as the half went on. And so who will have had the better halftime team talk? Here is Matt Redenton. And as the ball is slid away by Josh Brillantes, throw in taken quickly by Josh Brindle South. Ball kids have been sharp tonight. They're trying to keep the tempo high for Lions FC on this first minute of the second 45. Slow challenge came in from Clisby, not able to dispossess Redenton though, and he's able to win a corner.
It's becoming clearer and clearer that this is a very well coached side, Lions FC. They know exactly what they're doing here tonight, trying to play football. Well, let's see if they know how to take a corner. I'll tell you, on this side.
Well, we didn't see any conventional delivery from corners in the first half. Will they go short or for variety once again here in the second? It's a short corner again. And then steered to the edge of the attacking third. Everyone in the penalty area lays in wait. Now Redenton swings it in. Gee, that's a teasing ball, but there was no one there to meet it.
And they had numbers in the box as well. There was at least 3 or 4 red shirts. It's a beautiful little move there from Lions FC. It was Redenton. He knows how to put a ball inside the box, and it was just away from an on-rushing red shirt.
You see the teams appearing in the graphics at the base of your screen. No half-time substitutions. Only yellow card from the first half went to Western Sydney's Oscar Priestman. Lions have come out the brighter at the start of the second half. Can they turn it into a shot on target, though? Tristan Vidakovic, the goalkeeper, only really tested once in that first 45. And he had to get down low next to his left-hand post, and this was the case in a lot of the first half. He's doing the work with his feet here as he goes and retrieves a loose pass. Lions press right to the edge of the box, into the penalty area, in fact, hurrying Vidakovic in the clearance now. Brindle South missed the interception. Sapsford can turn. Now Wanderers first attacking foray of the second half of them. Borello. Sapsford. Through the lefty veers, and Clisby, well, lost his feet at the key moment. However, luck's a fortune, he still wins a corner.
When they go quickly, the Wanderers, they look really, really dangerous. Good to see Jack Clisby in those sorts of positions, high and wide on the left-hand side, and he's got great delivery. Noticed that in Jack's game the last couple of seasons. It's been fantastic.
So he will try to put that left foot to use. Corner's an out-swinger. Good defensive header away initially. Redenton, the runners are breaking. Duckworth received the pass between two Wanderers. Priestman won it back. Tommy Jarrard clears, but it hung up long enough that Battleado could make a play on the ball. Redenton able to spin away from Priestman. Feeds the pass. And Lions are away. Shouts of quicker coming from the sideline. So the demands are there. They're being stated. A little bit ambitious from Hart Phillips. He tried to take on Battleado and lost out. Late contact. Advantage given. Brillante. And now Clisby getting forward. Leaves it with Brillante. Milanovic, the goal scorer. This time he can't find a teammate with the pass. It's taken away. Now the counter-attack might be on. Broderick. He's got a decent turn of speed here, Luke Broderick, and he's trying to show it now. He attempted to turn on the afterburners, and he was matched stride for stride by Alex Bonatic.
Good defending there from the Wanderers, and they've just got to slow it down a little bit now and gain back that control that they had in the early part of the first half. It was all Lions after that.
Pass into a dangerous area in midfield, and possession spilled. Redenton makes the most of it. Entic slides it through. Pengelly has his left foot. Good save. At close range, out came Vidakovic. Deflected it away for a corner, and Andy Pengelly brought a good stop out of the keeper.
Super stop, and we've been asking what we're going to see from the young goalkeeper tonight, and it's beautiful. He stays big, he stays strong, and he waited for Pengelly to get close to him, and decent defending as well from Jean Tae-Wook just to slow himself down.
Now an in-swinging corner to the far post. Skinner with a volley into his own teammate. Tommy Jarrard couldn't get out of the way, and so the chance goes begging. Goal kick.
It's a good idea. Just needed to execute something a little bit better, and only had eyes for the ball, both players. That's a shame. That's a real shame, because they put pressure on the Western Sydney Wanderers. It didn't pay off for them there.
And so 5 interesting minutes to start the second half. with Lions FC showing a new burst of energy out of the rooms at half-time. Ejiknap won the ball. Can't win a free kick. A bit of nibbling at his ankles, but he plays it back. Pengelly trying to turn provider, but he clears all and sundry in the box. And that will be allowed to roll out on the other side of the area. Here's Sapsford. Borello is closed down, but still managed to squeeze a pass to Brillante. Clisby starting to venture forward more and more from that left-back position. Brillante thought about a long shot, decided against. Borello, Battolato. And Pond is there to make sure the ball doesn't find its way out for another corner.
It's an area that the Wanderers need to improve, I think, this season, is that connection, playing in and playing quickly in that final third. And Brillante was a big example of that there. He probably could have stepped in and had a shot, but if he would have gone at pace and played a little 1-2 and moved forward, maybe it would have been a little bit more exciting for the Wanderers to try and recreate something better inside the box.
Hart-Phillips back to Ramazani. From the last line of defence, Pond. His distribution tested here, and he's found a teammate nicely. Broderick brought it down with a great first touch, and then spins to face forward. Took on one player too many in Priestman. Priestman, gaps have opened all of a sudden. Sapsford with a chip. Sapsford with a goal. Very nicely done. And in the blink of an eye, it did not take much for Western Sydney to double their lead. Oscar Priestman gets the assist, and Zach Sapsford makes it 2-0 to Western Sydney.
That high line tested again for Lions. It's a beautiful little move here from Priestman. A ball over the top, right down the guts. And that's different gravy with that finish. Sapsford just saw the keeper coming out, and the first touch just set him up perfectly, just to side foot it over the keeper. And the Wanderers, they deserve that 2-0 lead, and can they build on it from now?
Well, technically very tricky to do, Eric, but Zach Sapsford made that look like it was regulation. A very well taken goal.
Yeah, you've got to have your wits about you. You've got the goalkeeper coming out at speed and the ball fizzing around everywhere and two defenders on you. So Sapsford, as you said, hasn't really been in the game, but that certainly makes up for it, getting a goal early in the second half.
And so Zach Sapsford, who had a great moment in the Sydney Derby last season, has done it in front of the biggest crowds and on the biggest stage that the A-League has to offer at present. Having talked to him during NPL season, he's the sort of player that didn't take it as a slight at all that he was asked to go back and play NPL for the Wanderers Academy team through the winter. Just wanted the minutes, he wanted the game time, and he sees the value in representing his club and taking every opportunity to play competitive football, which speaks to a pretty determined mindset that he's got as well.
Well, we interrupt the action to head over to Kingsway Reserve in Perth in WA. This from Adelaide United, putting them in the lead.
To Madania in space, enters the box. Madania draws a sharp save, still on. Ayubi barrels it home. And the three-time Cup champions, Adelaide United, strike first here in Perth.
Great goal there from Austin Ayubi.
He just had that birthday earlier this month. And so, what substitutions are in order now that Wanderers have this 2-0 buffer 10 minutes into the second half? The man dubbed the human highlight reel, Marcus Eunice, is one of them. He'll be coming on here, as is Marcus Antonsen. And the goal scorer, most recent, Sapsford, will be one of the players making way, as will Alex Battolato. And we're also going to see Dylan Shikluna come on here. And it'll be Oscar Priestman, the only player with a yellow card to his name, that is coming off. So as that triple sub goes through, Eric, it's a chance for us to watch the goal again.
Yeah, it's good to watch. Very route one. And I guess if you're Cardiff Pond, the goalkeeper, you don't want to watch that one back because he gets caught there with the high line of the defence and the time to come out, and he just gets stuck, and it's a beautiful finish for Zatsford. His night's done.
What are the action in Victoria between Hume City and Melbourne Serbia? Hume City are in the lead thanks to Amir Abdullah.
Oh, the ball swung in. He'll try to come for it, and it's an Olympic goal in the Australia Cup. Pick that one out. Hume City lead.
Straight from the corner. Thank you, wind.
Challenge here, deflect out and go the Wanderers' way. Shakluna, Antonsen and Marcus Eunice, the trio of players that are now into the game, with Sapsford, Badalato and Priestman, the three that have taken their leave just before the hour mark.
Geez, he was quick to get them on as well, wasn't he? As soon as that second goal went in, it was time to ring in the changes.
Do you have anything, as we see Ramazani return to his position at the centre of defence, anything in mind for Lions here? Do they persist with more of the same? Is that going to be enough to get them a goal back to at least make it nervous?
Well, I've seen Sean Carlos, number 12, cause a lot of problems this season in the NPL. He's very capable of finding the back of the net, so expect to see him very, very soon.
Right now, Wanderers want to put a gap in this game. Shakluna. Bonatic. Now Clisby. Pass out to the right flank, and Wanderers are on the move at pace. Borello made the angle slightly more acute for himself, but still able to drive through with power and win a corner kick.
It's really good movement from the Western Sydney Wanderers to allow that space to occur on the right-hand side. And Brendan Borello just try to get that yard of space and get his shot away. It's another corner for Western Sydney, another opportunity to get the big boys forward.
See the corner count there. It's only Wanderers' second corner of the game, both coming in this second half. It's their first from the right-hand side. Brillante. High out swinger and over the head of Jung Tae Wook. The referee saying it swung out, in fact, for a goal kick. And there's going to be more activity on the sideline here as we close in on the hour mark. And after seeing the Wanderers triple change, Lions are going to respond in kind. Finn Beakhurst, who's had an injury-affected year, is going to be coming on, as is Nadir Nauri. And it's going to be Joe Duckworth and Luke Broderick who are making way. Leading the pitch on the opposite side there is Joseph Duckworth. So Beakhurst comes on. Also Nauri. So new faces for Lions FC. Will it be a couple of new dimensions to the way they go about attacking? Ramazani. Bit of a hot potato pass back to Jarrard, and then an even hotter one to his goalkeeper. The ball is cleared. Brindle South tried to squeeze through a gap where there was none, and Wanderers retake possession. Clisby. This time communication is spot on between defender and keeper. Trying to force a pass through midfield lines. They're going to win it back. Redenton. And he sees Intignat with plenty of space. He can keep it moving. And Beakhurst, the new man, straight into the game. At the edge of the box, Redenton hangs it high, and nearly sneaking in from the blind side there was Skinner, but it was a hard pass to make anything out of.
Lions FC got some great composure in the final third, and it's Redenton there just trying to hang something up, waiting for Skinner to arrive. He was a little bit late, and they're going to need more entries into the box, get more orange shirts in there, and try and cause a little bit more chaos for the defenders of Western Sydney Wanderers.
At half-time they were well in front on passes in the final third, but a lot of them weren't testing aggressive passes into the box, threatening that a shot might be on the end of them. Will there be a little bit more directness now that they have a game to chase and a task at hand? Wanderers just want to starve them of the ball. Yunus leaps up, shows his athleticism as he bursts into the box, and the cross is cleared. Centre-back pairing, Gerard and also Ramazani on the same wavelength. Now Intignap can't spin his way out of trouble, but Skinner completes the clean-up job. Marcus Yunus has got so much power in those legs. And he was able to show his just explosiveness and his burst there. Watch out for that. We're expecting him, in spite of the transfer rumours attached to his name, Eric, to see a lot more minutes this season. Stay with this Lions attack for now, even if it is not the briskest at the moment. Brindle South. Passing avenue is blocked. Now Ramazani. He does not lack confidence, taking players on, coming out of defence, and he, well, skinned three but couldn't then find the pass. And now there's a gap to be exploited for the Wanderers at the other end. And that long ball is going to bend around, and possession retained. Milanovic puts his head down, the cutback is on. First time shot from Borrello into the side netting.
I mean, you love to see it. You love to see Ramazani trying to go on amazing and get through all the way to the halfway line. One challenge, two challenges, and just couldn't find the final pass. And the Wanderers found that space. Milanovic finding Borrello, who's got to hit the target from those sorts of areas.
I think the problem is he tried to pass. He should have just kept going. Now he's catching his breath. He's not going to go on another dashing run here. Given away, Milanovic. Ball sits up. Wanderers capitalise at the edge of the box. A collision. Referee doesn't reach for the whistle. It's definitely left Borrello worse for wear, but he's quickly back to his feet, albeit a little proppy. Now Chung Tae-wook. Shikluna. Diagonal ball, an aggressive one, and as he's overhit it, it gives us the chance to throw down to the sideline. And Campbell Johnson.
Thanks, Teo. Yeah, I've spoke to both sides just about those changes, and Noel Arante did assure me that it was purely pre-season, getting minutes into the legs for the Western Sydney Wanderers boys. I spoke to Dan Barber from Lions FC as well, and he just discussed about that load management that they're in the midst of, with looking towards the semi-final this weekend against Gold Coast Knights. Finn Beakhurst obviously coming in on that right-hand side. Joe Duckworth playing a lot of minutes this year. So they're just watching both of those situations. And as well, Finn Beakhurst, I mean, interrupted year so far. So purely just load management from Lions FC.
Thanks, Campbell. And yes, Beakhurst, previously having won the Mike Cockerell medal as the best player from a non-A-League team in an Australia Cup campaign. So we know his quality. He has had injuries that he's been overcoming this season. It could still end up being a very successful season for Lions FC. As we heard there, they've got a semi-final coming up. Albeit last time they played Gold Coast Knights, they were beaten 5-0. So they're going to need a big form reversal coming off a short turnaround from a cup tie midweek.
Yeah, I understand that, and I understand what Campbell said there. But, you know, the other thing to say is, so what? This is the Australia Cup. Do you not want to win the game? Do you not want to progress to the next round and put all the players out there for as long as you can?
The ones that are out there are charged with the task of trying to get them back into it, but as we saw there, Skinner fell out of the way, dispossessed by Borrello. Relante. And Borrello. Clisby, free as a bird, not able to make the most of the space he had. And that just exploded off his boots. It hasn't gone out, though, on the opposite side of the pitch. Skinner, he got dragged back. As we see the apology there. Cameron committed the foul. Free kick for Lions.
What a shame there for Western Sydney. Jack Clisby again getting himself inside the box. It's a great little opportunity. Just needed to slow himself down. They're going to get more and more opportunities like this tonight, you feel, as the game wears on.
You can see that fans have ringed the pitch, 1,853 of them. It looks and sounds like more. It's a perfectly sized venue for what is a full house on a cup night. They would love to see the home team score. They would love something to give Lions hope, but right now a Wanderers' third goal is looking the more likely. Shikluna, he's got Milanovic in space, similar territory to where he scored from in the first half. Sidesteps are plenty, and then a good save to deny him. Pond comes up with the parry to prevent it becoming 3-0.
I think he gets the right option the first time. It's a great win back in midfield, and the forward pass is really good into the feet of Milanovic, who is hot tonight. Didn't play that one. Could he have played that one in there for Borrello? That might have been a better option for him. They could have walked the ball into the net there, the Wanderers.
And it feels as though this game is just starting to stretch to breaking point. And the third goal would be the game breaker, you'd have to think. Antonsen, Borrello in close quarters, going back to Antonsen. Chance of get up for the Lions defence, but they're not coming up that high. They're still right at the edge of their defensive penalty area as this sweeping cross comes in. First header was Wanderers, and it was Milanovic, but not on the target, and despite his pleas, it will be a goal kick.
You don't mind that. It's something different. It really is, from Jesse Cameron trying to find a cross inside the box. There were three big boys. Milanovic getting himself high there. And, you know, they pass and they pass and they pass. And sometimes the best option is to just get it in the box with numbers.
Have Wanderers been caught cold here? Brindle South with all the time in the world. Can he find a teammate with the cross? He can't. It's blocked away. Wanderers got numbers back in time. That was a glorious opportunity for Lions FC. Really, they caught Wanderers napping, and they may yet do again. Beakhurst crosses it in, cleared from the edge of the box by Jung Tae Wook. The edge of the 6-yard box, that is. And now the shot through traffic. And it did catch a deflection. Nadir Nauri coming off the bench. He's trying to make an impact.
That was so unlucky there for the Lions. That deflection on the edge of the box here, it just didn't slow down enough for Pengelly to get a foot there. He was right around the back of Jung Tae Wook, and anything could have happened there having that shot. It's good confidence from the substitute.
So the resulting corner, almost out of nowhere, Lions FC have come to life with a good little spell. How long can they extend it for? Beakhurst just went for glory on the tight angle, and it was blocked away by Cameron for another corner.
I'm not entirely sure the Wanderers had enough players around them, just having one going out. It was Jesse Cameron all alone. They're going to have to get two players out here, Milanovic as well.
Nauri hangs up across, and it was there to be won. Well, offside is going to let the air out of the balloon. Bonatig may have won the header, but it was offside as well. And we're going to see substitutions now at this break in play with just over 20 minutes of regulation to go. And Lions FC are going to turn to Jake Manette and also Pranav Vallabh. Tommy Jarrett is coming off here as one of the changes, so the centre-back is going to be making way, as is Jackson Hart-Phillips. So maybe they heard you, Eric, when you said, so what, go for it tonight? Maybe these are the moves. Let's see, are they going like for like here with Tommy Jarrett, or are they going to change the formation and try to create a bit more of an overload in midfield or in the attacking third?
Well, look, you've played nearly 40 games this campaign. I know it's about freshness of the legs, and it's a massive week for the club, but this game should be taking priority, and I'm sure it is for Darren Syme. And 2-0 down with all of 20 minutes left. It's all to play for.
One goal back, anything's possible. Can they plant the seeds of doubt? Western Sydney Wanderers know that a third goal will have them into the quarterfinals and looking good to try and match their best ever performance in this competition, which was semi-final. I'm sure there's no way that Alan Stajic would rather introduce himself to Wanderers than to take this team to the Australia Cup final and win the tournament for the first time. Of course, Wanderers have the record of being the very first team to be cup set and knocked out all the way back on opening night in 2014 when they were beaten by Adelaide City. They've also been knocked out by Harvey Leichhardt in 2021, but they'd love to redress the Zip 2 balance by winning the trophy for the first time. Here comes a long throw for Western Sydney now, headed away by Pengelly. Brillante. Wanderers happy to steer it all the way back to Vidakovic. Scicluna. They created a gap to exploit. Clisby. Marcus Eunice. Edge of the box. Borrello frees the feet and misfires. But the attack stays alive. Borrello gets another chance here. Little backheeled flick from Milanovic. Can't find him. Skinner. Oh, that is a spectacular tackle. An arm over the shoulder, and just the way the physics of it worked out sent Skinner sprawling.
I believe this term is called, well, that one's a shank from Borrello, but the next one's a coat hanger, and lucky to get away without caution. But it's almost like some of the Wanderers players are allergic to having a shot tonight. You know, you see Milanovic, the only one really with that confidence to have a go. And if you want to try and drag out a defensive line, you want to have shots from distance. So the next time they think about going and closing the ball, it might create more space on the other side.
Great skill by Hadaneri. Not able to complete the pass, though, and now it might slingshot down the other end. Borrello. Does he get the shooting action this time? Oh, he skipped over the leg of Redenton and went to ground, but no free kick was forthcoming. Redenton dispossessed here by Brillante. Borrello, you see him picture in picture there. He's back to his feet, having taken that tumble, but he's all right to keep moving. The pace of the game has gone up just a degree in the last couple of phases here. You feel like Western Sydney Wanderers are trying to turn up the gas. Can they turn it into a goal? Antonsen not on the end of this pass.
Yeah, it's good pace to the game here. Borrello just trying to get himself away to unleash, but it's good defending from the Lions. You've got to try and crowd out players like Brandon Borrello. Once he's got time and space to move, you're almost dead when he's dribbling, so you've got to try and force him one way into traffic, and they did a great job at doing that.
Now with real speed, Skinner breaking down the left. Does he have a pass to match? He doesn't. He trod on the ball. It sits up, though. Nadanari crossed into the man. Half-hearted shouts of handball, but a corner is the reward as Brillante maybe winded by the ball being booted into it.
You didn't say penalty here, did you, Teo?
No, I said half-hearted shout.
Well, it could have been if there's a player around him, but it was a great little piece of play from Jack Skinner, who's been so bright tonight.
No handball here, Eric? No, off the midriff.
Looks as though midriff, but...
Corner comes to Little. However, second phase, they might still be on here. Endignat tried for the 1-2 with Skinner. And Scicluna, he's motoring, but he showed a lot of the ball to Ramazani. Borrello follows up, bit of grabbing and grappling going. Wanderers have escaped. They've got two out the back. Marcus Eunice, he takes responsibility. He takes the game on, but he can't find the corner.
Well, there's that burst of pace you were talking about. Teo Eunice just exploded there and said goodbye to the back line. It's good to see Borrello there riding a challenge or two, and just there wrapped his foot around it. He could have rolled it near post, he could have put it to the far posts, and in the end it was neither.
It's that end-to-end nature of the game. Whenever Lions get really deep in attack, they have taken the risk of leaving the back door unlocked, and that's what Western Sydney have exploited at times. You're going to see Aidan Simmons come on here. Brandon Borrello's night is over. He's done some impressive things tonight. Eric, what have you made of the showing from the capped Socceroo Borrello?
Now, that's one person you need to protect in terms of load management, and we know all about Brandon Borrello's history from last season. He's had a good outing. His movement's good. He hasn't really found a settled position in this pre-season. He's just been floating about, but he's one of their best players and their biggest attacking threat, so I'm sure Alan Stajic is just trying to rest him at this point. Job done, possibly, for him?
Oh, possibly. 15 minutes still to go. Western Sydney have had their looks at a third. Lions FC, maybe they're just starting now to go for their last hurrah to try and bridge this gap. Bring the crowd back into it too. They're all intrigued rather than vociferous about what's going on in front of them. Here's Milanovic, Clisby, as has been the case all second half, in space, and it is the third. Brilliant finish by Anderson, and that should do it for Western Sydney Wanderers to punch their ticket to the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup.
What a beautiful goal from the Western Sydney Wanderers, and it started with Tristan Vidakovic with a beautiful pass forward. And again, Milanovic at the heart of everything tonight for the Wanderers. Jack Clisby has been waiting for service, and he's been waiting for a run inside that box, and it was a great little finish there from Anderson, getting in front. Just needed a little touch past the keeper, and you probably say, Taya, that's game, set and match.
Well, you can only give so much rope to Jack Clisby for this entire second half, whether it's just a tactical exploit or whether they've deliberately taken the risk. They've left him with the left side of the attacking half all to himself. Lions FC will make a substitution here as Entignap comes off, and he's replaced by Sean Carlos with the scoreline at 3-0. Jack Clisby, I think he may have taken it on notice that he was being given plenty of room and space, and eventually he's come up with an assist.
Yeah, beautiful ball, but let's talk about the goalkeeper's distribution. We talked about that earlier with having both feet. It was a sensational pass into midfield, under pressure, perfect weight, perfect timing, not easy having to play with a new bunch of players. I'm sure he's not played a lot of football in this 11 with the Wanderers, and he's done himself no harm tonight whatsoever.
This 11 certainly not. He's played 6 times in the NPL for Western Sydney's team ever since he came back to Australia, starting in June. So he's been in the club, but it hasn't been this combination of players he's been playing with. And here's that pass you mentioned.
Yeah, just super. And it was identifying a danger man like Milanovic, moving into space, knowing that Clisby was overlapping. The space was there. That'll please Alan Stajic when they go back and watch that on the video.
So 3-0 the score. Previous tests against A-League opponents for Lions FC, when they played Perth Glory as Queensland Lions back in 2015, it was 0-0 at full time, and then 1-0 to Perth after extra time. However, when they played Brisbane Roar in 2021, it was 4-0. So the scoreline creeping towards that sort of territory here. So can they find a goal to show for their efforts tonight? And the enterprise with which they've taken the game on. This will flick up high and catching practice in the end for Vidakovic.
Just a lingering question mark for the Lions tonight. I think if they don't get a few more shots at target, I think they'll walk away from this game a little bit unhappy. They've done really well building up the ball and keeping possession in midfield, but they haven't tested the goalkeeper quite enough.
The strange thing is Andy Pengelly has not been prominent in the game other than every meaningful attack that threatened a goal. He was on the end of it. The scuffed shot in the first half, the really good close-range save from Vidakovic here in the second. And on a different night, we could be talking about him with a double. But there may yet be a goal to come here. Redenton, deflected. Pengelly right on cue, and he's foiled once more by Vidakovic. The flag stayed down. It would have counted, and he is denied once again.
What more can we say about the big man, Vidakovic? What a great save. Redenton couldn't get a shot on target. It's a great point-blank save from the big goalkeeper, who's having a great game, keeping his side that clean sheet.
And you can see there, Jung Tae-wook clearly playing Andy Pengelly onside. It would have been no concerns about being caught off had he found a way past the goalkeeper there. It's amazing how it works out like that. We were just discussing the chances he's had. Could have been walking off with the match ball tonight, given the quality of opportunities that have been presented to him. So with 10 minutes of regulation to go, Western Sydney Wanderers with a let-off, and they would certainly like to leave with a clean sheet, having not done so in their first Australia Cup tie, which was a 2-1 win against Brisbane City. See, they've got one more substitute waiting in the wings.
Well, let's head to Kingsway Reserve in Perth because we've had an equaliser.
Bit of space to operate in for the teenager for Kingsway. Here's Knowles. Lovely ball in for Boland! And just like that, the home side is back on level terms. And Liam Boland goes level with Besart Berisha for most goals in the Australia Cup.
Well, is the cup set on from the Cup King? It's Liam Boland.
Eunice. Ramazani quick to tell the referee he won the ball. No worries, the referee agreed. Beakhurst, and he just misses Skinner there with the distribution, and that is going to prompt one more substitute entering the game for the Western Sydney Wanderers. And it is going to be Anthony Pandazopoulos coming on here. And curtain call for Jesse Cameron, is it? No, it's Bonatig who is getting the message to come off. So it's going to be a change, and that makes sense. Pandazopoulos himself a centre-back. And so the substitution will go through here. Bonatig leaves the game after a good night in the air. Hasn't needed to be overly prominent in the match, would you say?
Not really. They haven't really been tested, but their backline's been really well marshalled, and it's important, I think, for the Western Sydney Wanderers moving forward. They find their best pairing in the middle and the heart of defence. Last season I was having Marcelo there, who are going to be the starting two for Alan Stadgich. I'm sure that's still up for debate.
Brindle South, all the way back deep into defence. Nari. Brindle South, the underneath pass. No opportunity to turn and face the box, though. And that time, asking a little bit too much of the runner out for a goal kick.
There's been a lot of passages of play like this tonight from Lions. They're very cute, very intricate. You can see that they're not afraid to play football, particularly on the edge of the box. And, you know, moving forward for the end of the season for the Lions and beyond, it's just about against a better opposition, maybe just taking a little bit more of a risk in that final third.
Wanderers, who in between their round of 32 tie-in tonight, did defeat Auckland, the new expansion team, 4-2 in a pre-season friendly at Wanderers Football Park. More pain on the way here, perhaps, for Lions. Eunice, almost unchallenged, and he emphatically buries the shot. Marcus Eunice has Western Sydney Wanderers up and running, and his enterprise off the bench has merited a goal tonight.
Well, it's become a theme, hasn't it, tonight? Lions FC playing that high line, and they get caught yet again. And it was Eunice just having to wait for his moment, coming off the bench, and he was one-on-one with the goalkeeper and did really well to put him on the ground. Cardiff Pond had to watch him walk the ball into the net, and it's 4 for the Wanderers.
Just 19 years of age, Marcus Eunice. He's been subject to transfer speculation from PSV to Aberdeen this week. I think Western Sydney fans would love to just see him get some regular game time in the A-League. Why wouldn't they want to keep him, and why wouldn't he want to be clocking 90s, especially in this sort of form?
Well, there's a few things there, isn't there? But such young talents, you want to try and keep in the side. The referee's just blown his whistle here for something. Not sure what's going on.
Well, we've got pyrotechnics that have found their way on. So someone's thrown a flare onto the pitch, and I'm sure there's a bucket of sand not too far away to extinguish. Yep, security's on it. It's an unfortunate interruption with only 5 minutes of regulation to go. And here comes the bucket. Marcus Eunice, 8 goals in 13 NPL games this winter before his focus turned to A-League pre-season.
Well, the recruitment's been slow for the Wanderers, but you can see the youth coming through now. And there's been great work being done at the Western Sydney Wanderers. And if you go and ask all the kids and the parents in the area, who do you want to play for? Not who do we sing for, it's who do you want to play for it's Western Sydney Wanderers, and it's going to have to rely on a big package of young players coming through yet again.
Well, this is the season where the cliche about, you know, nursery of Australian football, best opportunity in heartland to develop players. This is the season to show it, really.
And they're going to get opportunities, aren't they? Alan Stajic, a manager that loves to promote youth, and guys like Eunice, it can't just be a one season or a one game opportunity. You know, from the coaching point of view, you've got to put them in at the appropriate time. But if they're doing well, you keep them there, you keep them happy, and you keep them playing.
As someone who played professionally in Scotland, what are your thoughts on Aberdeen?
Cold.
Not the club, the city.
Well, cold, but, you know, historic club, and to be linked with any clubs overseas now, you know, I think is a compliment in itself. We forget how far away we are from the rest of the world physically in Australia, and, you know, the grass is not always greener, Teo. You know, to get overseas is one thing, to stay over there is another.
Let's take a look at the goals that have got this game to this situation. Nicholas Milanovic in the first half picking out the bottom corner, and then in the second half, Zach Sapsford got the buffer, 2-0 gap. He was subbed off immediately after, and then the game has been stretched and started to open up, and this was number 3 for Antonsen, and then Marcus Eunice followed shortly after.
It's becoming a happy hunting ground for the Western Sydney Wanderers is Brisbane, and here's that final goal. Eunice getting forward, that high line, breaking it, and just showing composure. Great to see a young man showing composure in front of goal when possibly a lot of players would have just hit that first time.
Well, they might be desperately hoping that Moreton City Excelsior can knock off Perth Glory, so they've got one more trip to Queensland before they're done. They can't meet until the semi-final, because the winner of this game gets the winner of Olympic Kingsway and Adelaide United, which you can continue watching right here on the Australia Cup coverage. It's the late kickoff tonight, so stay with us after full time of this one, because there's more going on in Perth. So, yeah, Moreton City Excelsior, if they were to find a way past Perth Glory and then the winner of NWS Spirit versus Melbourne Victory, you just never know. They might have one more trip to Queensland in them during this Cup campaign, Western Sydney. Right now, though, faced with the prospect of a trip to either Adelaide or Perth, depending on who gets through that other round of 16 tie. Here's Lions. 2 minutes of regulation to go now, and a tired pass that slides out for a goal kick.
You know, the way that Lions FC have played this game, you know, you probably look at it and say, was there a 4-goal difference? And you'd say no. The way that they've played and controlled the game and maybe created things in the middle of the pitch, but not in the final third. But the Wanderers, I'm really happy to see them just pick their moments and understand that there's going to be chinks in the armour.
Well, it's finishing in front of goal, though. Pengelly's had the chances tonight to leave with a goal or 3, and Western Sydney Wanderers, really, I mean, the half-time XG was, what, 0.2? So they've executed with the only real proper look they had in the first half, and Zach Sapsford showed great composure against an oncoming goalkeeper here in the second. And I think if you look back in Darren Simon-Will, I'm sure, at this, you know, this high line that he's played, it's a great idea against most of the sides. But, you know, against an A-League opposition with pace and guys that can finish a football, maybe he'll would like to rethink that strategy just a little bit. Of course, it's a long way back to the national rounds for NPL teams. You've got to get into the latter stages of the Knockout Cup in your state. This season, Peninsula Power, who we've seen multiple times to the national rounds, were one of the teams that fell to Lions FC on the way. It's never easy, but Lions FC, they'll feel an obligation to get back here, given that they're now the holders of the Queensland Cup, which they won at the weekend, which is the final 4 qualifiers from Queensland all contest. They beat Moreton City Excelsior in that final. As we're ticking down to what we believe, and we're about to find out from our 4th official, Zijad Ahmedovic, will be 3 additional minutes to finish the night. There is the 4th official signalling as such. 1,800 fans, good atmosphere. It's been a good night of cup football, but as we see a foul here, what are your final thoughts on Lions FC, Eric, that they can take with themselves into the semi-final against Gold Coast Knights this weekend?
The way that they've played has been, you know, a tap on the shoulder, I think, for Darren Syme and his side is just to say well done in terms of not taking a backward step and playing to their philosophy, even now at, 4-0 down, as we see the player have an injury here. But they haven't been scared to play football, to play out from the back, to try and get things going. But, they need to have that finishing touch. They just didn't have it tonight.
Yeah, Jake Manette, he is still limping here, and he's got to turn his focus to defending because Western Sydney Wanderers are not showing mercy. Ball comes through the right, and half a chance for Anderson. Manette not on the scene. He's watching from the penalty spot. Big swing and a miss from Panasopoulos. And a clumsy foul will get Lions FC out of trouble. Are they going to insist that Jake Manette plays out these final 2 minutes as he tries to walk off what looks like a little ankle twist? Here's another look at the foul. I think he's slowly getting his movement back as we take another look at the free kick.
Yeah, you don't want to be getting yellow cards at this stage of the competition.
Gee, no, he's still limping, so he's not looking too good here, Jake Manette, unfortunately for Lions FC. We've got just over a minute to go. Western Sydney Wanderers, they will probably get the phones open and watch the remainder of Olympic Kingsway versus Adelaide United in the rooms and on the bus and back at the hotel, because they will be intrigued to know where their frequent flyers in this Australia Cup is taking them next. Final thought on the Wanderers, Eric?
It's been a good outing for them. And we talked about Alan Stagic's first game in charge a couple of weeks ago. This is the second one in terms of being a competitive fixture. And they've been miles better than they were against Brisbane City. Much more fluent in this final third.
And again, they're trying to finish the night with a bang here. Clisby fighting for every final ball, even in the last 40 seconds of the game. And well, unfortunately for Skinner, he's cramped right at the end of the night with the finish line in sight.
Yeah, he's been good tonight for the Lions, as has Jack Clisby getting forward. That's your left back in the 92nd minute, trying to burst forward and get their 5th goal. So I think for the Wanderers tonight, it's been a good exercise in terms of getting minutes, yes, but it's great to see the players like Zhong Tae-wook and Tristan Vidakovic get 90-plus minutes in their belts, and they're players that may have to play a big chunk of this season for the Wanderers.
So this restart, and perhaps just a couple more touches, will be met by the full-time whistle. Wanderers get the job done in Brisbane for the second time in the 2024 Australia Cup, and they are through to the quarterfinals at arm's length from a Lions FC team that definitely entertained us, but unfortunately for them could not leave with a goal when the chances presented tonight. And Wanderers, they took theirs, and they took them very efficiently in the second half. It's all smiles as they advance through to a quarter-final. Full-time in Brisbane, Lions FC 0, Western Sydney Wanderers 4.
Well, the Western Sydney Wanderers booked their spot in the Australia Cup quarter-final. Who they will meet, we are unsure yet, because it's 1-1 at the moment over in WA between Olympic Kingsway and Adelaide United. It will be the winner of that one who decides their quarter-final opposition. 4-0 tonight over Lions FC. So much football they've had to play. They lifted the Queensland Cup just on the weekend. They turned their attention to the semi-finals in the NPL Queensland, but smiles all around. In the end, new team, new players we get to see for the very first time. A young and an experienced goalkeeper at the back doing a great job, and Vidakovic. But overall, they did well, team. They got it done, because as much as Andy Pengelly tried and tried, he just couldn't break through.
No, he couldn't. And he's got such a good record of scoring goals in the Australia Cup and NPL level as well. But they showed their class. They sort of ground the game out in the second half, Western Sydney, and went on with it. And yeah, look, they showed the difference between the two teams. It's cutting edge, isn't it? In my notes, I've got Pengelly's name about 5 times with chances, but Western Sydney get theirs and they take them.
Yeah, and it wasn't one of those completely dominant games where Western Sydney just overpowered Lions. They had their chances. They had plenty of time in their attacking half. But when you go to that next level of football, it's about those little moments, the quality, the ability to connect a pass, find the back of the net is just not quite there for Lions. But understandably so, it's a very experienced Wanderers side.
What did you like about what you saw from the Wanderers tonight? You speak about that experience as well, but some of the youngsters that are coming through, another season for them, wanting to impress. Alan Stajic, Marcus Antonsen has stuck around. He came off the bench and scored, and Marcus Eunice, who we saw in the back end of the A-League men's season, getting a goal as well.
I liked Vidakovic tonight. He made a couple of good saves against Pengelly. Big, strong, gangly. Reminds me a little bit of Spider Kalats back in the day. But yeah, look, they've got to work a little bit more fluidity in their front three with their movement. They're very fluid in where they go. Borrello, I thought, was good early on. Didn't quite hit the marks that we're used to seeing from him later on in the game. But look, it's early days for them.
Yeah, it is indeed. Well, they are through to a quarter-final. These are the Western Sydney Wanderers. Let's get some